This video contains a summary of the book CheckMate by Ali Hazelwood, used for educational and review purposes.
Welcome to The Deep Dive, the place where we take the latest books, research, and cultural phenomena and just, break them down into the essential knowledge you need.
And today, we are tackling a really unique mission. We're diving deep into the literary chessboard to analyze Ali Hazelwood's 2023 romance novel, CheckMate.
Right, so for anyone who wants a really comprehensive summary of this book, this is it. We're going to cover everything from the high-stakes chess to the really personal exploration of trauma.
And yet to start with Ali Hazelwood herself, who is just a force of nature in the publishing world right now.
Oh, absolutely. She's often called the queen of STEMinist romance, which is a term reviewers came up with. Her books, like The Love Hypothesis, or Love, theoretically, are always set in these academic or scientific worlds.
Yeah, and she has this incredible knack for taking a really specific world and applying that universal grumpy meat sunshine trope. It just works.
It really does. And this book, CheckMate, is no exception to that formula, but it shifts the whole landscape.
It really does. Instead of a lab, we are dropped right into the unforgiving, high-stress, and very male-dominated world of professional chess.
And that setting lets Hazelwood explore some really heavy themes. We're talking inherited trauma, economic pressure, and I think critically, the pressure that's put on women in these competitive fields.
All set against this backdrop of grandmasters and world championships. It's a fantastic setup.
Okay, so let's get into the centerpiece of the story. Our protagonist, Mallory Greenleaf, Mal.
She is our sunshine, but she's sunshine under a very, very heavy cloud of obligation.
Yeah, she wasn't just good at chess as a kid, she was a true prodigy. The book says she was regularly beating all the older players, teenagers, adults at the Patterson Chess Club by the time she was 12.
Just 12. It's incredible. And that history, that genius, it stands in such stark contrast to where she is when we meet her.
Right. Her life is now all about avoidance, this deep-seated guilt and just constant money stress.
She's working as a mechanic, trying to find a stable, long-term job. But her main role, really, is as the caretaker for her family. She's got her mom's health issues to worry about, her two younger sisters, Sabrina and Darcy.
And it's not just, basic family responsibility. It's a crushing economic weight. She is hustling, picking up every single extra shift she can at the garage.
And it's for everything. The mortgage, her sister's roller derby fees, even specialized food for a pet guinea pig. You really feel the relentless grind of it all.
Her entire identity is wrapped up in being the family anchor. She's so determined to protect her sisters that she lies to them about how bad their money situation is.
All the time. She's constantly shielding them from the reality that they could lose their house. And this need to control everything, especially the money, it stems directly from this family trauma that she is just desperate to outrun.
A trauma that is directly linked to why she quit chess in the first place.
Exactly. And this brings us to a really important psychological concept that the author is playing with here. It's something called stereotype threat.
Okay, break that down for us. What is that?
So stereotype threat is basically the fear of confirming a negative stereotype about your own group. In this case, women in a male-dominated field like chess.
And that fear actually hurts your performance?
It cripples it. Or, in Mal's case, it leads to total withdrawal. She's so convinced that the instability and drama of professional chess are dangerous for her family that she's just shut that part of herself down completely.
So for her, working as a mechanic, even if it's underpaid and unstable, feels safer than risking her talent on a world stage.
Precisely. She has self-imposed this massive limitation on her own life.
Well, that safe, stable life plan gets completely obliterated.
It does, by a friend.
Yes, the whole story kicks off because of her friend Easton. The book paints Easton as this whirlwind of a person.
She sounds exhausting. The kind of friend who once got Mal to hack another student's Twitter back in 10th grade.
Right. So when Easton decides something is going to happen, it just happens. And she decides Mal is playing chess again.
Easton is the self-proclaimed team dictator. And she manages to drag Mal into this club's Olympic team tournament happening in the New York City area.
The only reason Mal agrees, really, is because it's for a good cause. It's raising money for Doctors Without Borders.
Right, which Mal grudgingly accepts. But she tries every excuse to get out of it, or at least lower expectations. She's making jokes like, what does the little horsey do again?
As if she could ever forget. But Easton doesn't buy it for a second. She immediately makes Mal PCC Player 1, putting her in the highest bracket, even though she hasn't played competitively in a decade.
And that move sets her up for a collision course. because she sits down for her first match, and across from her is the antagonist, the love interest, Nolan Sawyer.
And his introduction is just a masterclass in establishing power dynamics.
Oh, completely. He is the world's #1. A grandmaster, a 2-time world champion. He was on the cover of Time magazine as a Gen Z sex symbol.
Which he apparently hates, but still. The guy is a legend. His whole presence is just intensity, dark shirt, dark hair, dark expression. You can't read him at all.
And you have this incredible visual. Mal, with her cheap, dirty, discolored chess pieces she probably hasn't cleaned in years.
And she's facing off as the absolute pinnacle of chess perfection.
And here is the hook, the thing that changes everything.
She checkmates him.
She checkmates him. Not just a win, a checkmate. And of course, someone catches it on video, uploads it to TikTok, and it just explodes.
Over 20,000 likes almost immediately. She's gone from total obscurity to being back in the global spotlight she ran away from.
And this win is so huge because of Nolan's reputation. He's not just a genius, he's notorious. The entire chess community knows him as this terrible, moody, ill-tempered ball of toxic masculinity.
And specifically, the poorest loser on the entire circuit.
And that's not just a rumor. The book gives specific examples. At age 12, he wiped all the pieces off the board after a decision he didn't like.
And then at 13, he, flipped the whole table?
Flipped the entire table.
Yeah.
So he has this history of just these violent, volatile reactions to losing. Mal knows all of this.
So after she beats him, the tension must have been just unbearable. She's genuinely thinking he might throw the chess clock at her?
Or smash a chair over her head. She is bracing for a total meltdown.
That's not what happens.
No. The only thing Nolan does is lift his dark, clear eyes and look directly at her for the very first time. And the silence is the real drama. The contrast between his reputation and his actual measured, intense reaction to her. Well, that sets up the whole romance.
That viral victory high, though, it doesn't last long. Reality comes crashing back in.
It does. She loses that tiny bit of stability she thought she had. She gets fired from the garage.
By her boss, Bob, who's her uncle's replacement. And the reason is, she refused to upsell unnecessary services. She had a conscience.
Yeah, the example they use is a $200 engine flush on a 2019 Jetta that was way under 50,000 miles. It's just a complete scam.
And Mal won't do it. But the worst part is when she confronts her boss, Bob, he just casually tells her she was never on the books.
So she has zero legal recourse. Nothing. She's just out of a job, completely stranded, and the mortgage is due.
So she's hiding out at the library, totally panicking, and has this realization that you can't pay bills with Candy Crush Gold bars.
It's this moment of cold, hard truth. The financial desperation she tried so hard to avoid has finally caught up to her.
And that desperation is the perfect setup for the arrival of Daphne Bubikolu.
A literal lifesaver. Daphne's the owner of an organization called Zugzwang, and she's described as just this force of nature. Tall, pixie-cut tattoos, red lipstick.
She saw Mal's viral win and is a huge fan, and she offers her a fellowship.
But Mal is so skeptical at first. She needs that stable job near home to be a caretaker. But the money Daphne is offering it's just too much to ignore.
And the name of the organization, Zugzwang, is important here, isn't it? What does that mean?
It's a German chess term. It means compulsion to move. It's a situation where any move you make will actually make your position worse.
Wow. So that's her life right now. She's in a zigzwang.
She has to take the fellowship, even though it means stepping right back into the world of chess that she's terrified of, and she knows it's going to completely disrupt her family life.
That is fantastic. And the environment itself is just a massive shift. The old Patterson Chess Club was fluorescent lights and asbestos.
Apparently, yes. And Zugzwang is the complete opposite of that. It's luxury. It's sun-dappled hardwood, sleek tech, and chess sets so expensive, Mal thinks they must cost more than a gallbladder.
She even jokes that it might be a mob front, right?
Yeah, because she just can't process that level of wealth connected to a chess club.
And the training regime she's handed is just brutal.
Oh, it's completely overwhelming. She has to memorize openings, endgames, old tactics. It's like a full-time academic job, and a physical one, too.
Right. Daphne insists on a workout schedule. I found that so interesting.
Me too. She explains that professional players can burn up to 6,000 calories a day during a tournament. It's not a sedentary sport at all. It requires immense physical stamina.
And then, on top of all that, she has to deal with her office mate, Oz Notham.
Another grumpy genius. He's a resident grandmaster, he's scowling, and he has a strict no-talking rule.
So he's basically the opposite of Nolan's kind of grumpy. He's more of a clinical, miserable grumpy.
Exactly. And Mal just watches him studying the same dense manuals she is, like Dvoretsky's Endgame manual, which is famously difficult. And she's wondering what the point of all this theory is without actually playing.
She calls him the portable sickle type.
Which is perfect. But then you get this little humanizing detail later where you find out he's unexpectedly an emotional eater. It's hilarious.
It's a great touch. So this immersion is fast, and she's thrown right into the deep end at the Philly Open.
And this is not the cozy charity tournament. This is the big leagues. It's full of journalists from chessworld.com. All the big names are there. Rudra Lal, Maxim Alexiev.
And the spotlight is just completely inescapable, which is where she meets Maltikach.
Maltikach, the world number 2. He immediately subjects Mal to this just blatant, openly sexist commentary.
What was it he said? Something like,
"Were you wearing something low-cut? Is that the trick?" Just completely dismissing her skill and reducing her to her appearance.
it's that external stereotype threat we were talking about, made real. He's trying to say her success can't be because of talent, it must be something else.
Exactly. And it's disgusting. But then you get this amazing, unexpected moment of support.
From Oz, the no-talking guy.
Grandma Oz. He steps in and calls Koch and his friends assholes, whose only claim to fame is licking Koch's anus. It's so blunt.
And he makes that great distinction, right? He says both Koch and Nolan Sawyer are like Thanos, but he prefers Nolan's sphincter-clenchingly scary asshole brand over Koch's slime.
It shows that for all his misery, Oz respects pure competence. And he hates seeing someone play dirty like that.
So Koch, furious, tries to get her disqualified over a technicality.
A doodle on her scorecard. He claims it's a cat, which would be against the rules.
But it's her guinea pig.
It's her guinea pig. It's so petty and malicious. But this is where Nolan makes his grand entrance.
Right. Her supposed rival steps in to defend her.
He goes right to the tournament director and lays down an ultimatum. He says, if you eliminate Mallory, I won't play.
And losing the world's #1 player would destroy the tournament, so the director has no choice.
But Nolan isn't done. To completely humiliate Koch, he offers him a massive handicap. 2 moves odds.
Okay, for people who don't follow chess, that's insane.
It's almost impossible handicap at that level.
Yeah.
It's Nolan basically saying, I can give you a massive head start and still crush you, which he does, embarrassingly quickly.
And then, just to add to the chaos, he forfeits the match anyway.
Just pure power play, signaling to everyone that his participation is tied directly to Mallory's.
And the fallout from this is huge for her, especially financially.
Yes, she gets a check for $10,000 just for making it to the semifinals. She is floored.
And then she sees Nolan win the $50,000 first prize, and she has this moment of realization.
She asks if chess is OnlyFans. And that line just perfectly captures her shock. The world she thought was too unstable to provide for her family actually offers more money than she could ever dream of making at the garage.
And that's the moment she really commits to the fellowship.
Absolutely. And with that commitment, the boundaries she tried to keep up around Nolan just start to disintegrate.
He shows up at her house, unannounced.
Yep. He just found her address, which she says wasn't difficult. It's a huge violation of her personal space, but it's also, a classic romance trope move.
And he is shockingly good at winning over her family. He invents this whole story about working at a senior center.
It's a complete lie, but it's designed to make him seem stable and kind and perfect for her. He plays the part so well.
Until her sisters start interrogating him.
The family interrogation is amazing. Sabrina just cuts right to the chase. Are you having sex?
And then Darcy, her younger sister, casually outs Mal's bisexuality by asking Nolan if he also has sex with boys and non-binary people.
It's just so chaotic and real. You get a perfect snapshot of this loving, very honest family dynamic.
And Nolan is playing the perfect gentleman, denying everything, but then under the table, he traps her foot between his.
Yes. This tiny, silent, possessive gesture that tells Mal and the reader everything they need to know. His intentions are not platonic.
But his real reason for being there is chess. He demands she play with him.
And when she refuses, he says he'll pay her to play because he needs a strong opponent, which is a very Nolan way of saying, I recognize how good you are.
And this whole confrontation forces him to finally open up about his own trauma. about his grandfather, Marcus Sawyer.
This is the emotional core of his character. He explains that his grandfather had frontotemporal dementia, FTD, which caused these huge, unpredictable personality changes.
And Nolan was only 14 when he had to have him institutionalized.
Because his grandfather, during an episode, didn't recognize him and attacked him with a knife. Nolan ended up needing stitches.
That's horrible.
And Nolan says that incident became the ammo his controlling father needed to lock his grandfather away for good. And Nolan has carried that guilt ever since. It explains so much about why he's so closed off.
That shared vulnerability really changes things, and right after that, she's off to Toronto for the Olympics with the U.S. team.
Right. With Nolan and two other players, Emil Karim and Tanu Gol.
And Tanu is described as a supermodel who smells like lavender and is Emil's ex-girlfriend. It's a complicated dynamic.
Very complicated. Mal feels like a total odd man out. And Nolan is just baffled by Emil and Tanu's relationship.
He asks Mal if they're in a polyamorous relationship.
He genuinely can't wrap his head around their emotional connection. They're broken up, but they have these angsty late-night phone calls about Instagram likes.
And this leads to that amazing insight into his mind. Mal asks if he was ever jealous of them.
And he's just confused by the question. He says he couldn't understand how someone could be so enthralled by the idea of being alone in a room with another person without a chessboard.
He can only understand human connection through strategy and competition.
But then he looks at Mal, and he says, now I can. It's this huge admission, a massive step for him.
So the team places third, which is great, but the media doesn't care about the chess. They care about the rumored romance.
And Multicock just pours gasoline on that fire. He starts feeding rumors to Vanity Fair in Page 6 that Mal is Nolan's girlfriend and that he got her the spot on the big challengers tournament.
And then that photo of them playing tic-tac-toe goes viral.
Right. Not even chess, tic-tac-toe. And it just looks so intimate that it becomes almost impossible for them to deny the rumors.
And that's when the drama turns into a full-blown crisis.
Because Cock posts a TikTok, and it's just this destructive final blow. He claims Nolan paid for Mal's fellowship and her spot in the challengers tournament.
He's basically accusing Nolan of rigging the world championship by handpicking his opponent.
And this just taps into Mal's deepest, darkest fear. Manipulation. Lies. It sounds exactly like her father.
So she confronts Tanu.
And Tanu, reluctantly, confirms it. Nolan did pay for the fellowship, and in that moment, Mal just freezes. All her worst fears are confirmed.
She goes straight to Nolan and just unleashes on him. She even accuses him of getting her fired from the garage to force her down this path.
Which he denies, but his defense is just brutal. He says, I fucking wish I had, Mallory. I wish I could take credit for shaking you out of the life you settled for.
Oof. He thinks he was helping her, but she just sees it as control.
It's the emotional climax. She's choosing her family and her sense of self over him. And then, in this moment of just pure desperation, he says it.
I love you.
But she can't hear it, not through all the lies. She just throws it back at him, saying, it's not the first time someone has professed to love me after an ocean of lies. A direct hit about her father.
So she goes home completely broken and ends up exploding at her family, calling them bitches.
But that breakdown is what finally forces the conversation they should have had years ago.
Her mom steps in and tells her the whole truth about her dad. That he had a long history with alcohol, multiple DUIs.
And her mom looks at her and says, you are not responsible for his death. And you can just feel the weight of this 14-year-old guilt finally lifting off of Mal's shoulders.
The family finally heals. Sabrina even apologizes for taking advantage of Mal's guilt and her Red Cross nurse tendencies.
And with that guilt gone, Mal finally has the clarity to know what she wants for herself, which is to play chess.
And in a moment of perfect karmic justice, Multicock gets disqualified for cheating.
Which means Mal, as the runner-up, gets his spot in the Challengers Tournament anyway. She earned it.
And then Nolan calls, and he doesn't want her as an opponent.
No. He asked her to be his second at the World Championship, his chief strategist, his analyst, a position of absolute trust.
And she accepts. She tells him she wants everything with him. The professional partnership, the personal relationship, all of it.
It's the real turning point.
Yeah.
And it sets up the final act, the World Championship in Venice.
And she brings her family with her mom and her sisters, which is so important.
It's a huge signal. They're not a burden she has to protect from the chess world anymore. They're her foundation in it.
And the venue itself is so symbolic, this soundproof glass house.
Right in the center of these gardens, they are totally isolated, but also completely visible to the entire world. She has to finally embrace the spotlight she always ran from.
The night before it all begins, she finds Nolan in the glass house, and they have their real reconciliation.
And she tells him she's been studying his grandfather's games, Marcus Sawyer.
And she found the missing piece of the puzzle.
That Marcus was the original secret benefactor for Zugzwang. The organization that launched her career was funded by the man whose trauma defined Nolan's life. Their paths were always connected.
And she tells him she's not stopping, she wants to keep playing, she's coming for his #1 spot, and she wants a lot more of him, starting right now.
And they face the press the next day as a united front, which they need, because the sexist questions start immediately.
Nolan just shuts it down, though. In his typical blunt way, he jokes that she literally won the qualifying tournament to be here.
He's so protective. And then the match begins. Her, ranked #1843 in the world, facing him, ranked #1. The climb is steep, but the trajectory is set.
And we get that final resolution in the epilogue told by a BBC correspondent 2 years later.
Their rivalry has made the World Chess Championship the most viewed in history. They still officially deny they're a couple.
But they're photographed holding hands all the time, and they live together in his grandfather's old apartment.
But the most important detail, the thing that shows how much Nolan has truly changed, is that final anecdote.
About his reputation as the world's poorest loser.
Exactly. The man who flips tables when he loses. When a reporter asks him about Mallory possibly taking his #1 spot, he doesn't get angry.
He just smiles.
He just smiles. For the first time, his love for her and her success is more important than his own individual victory.
That is quite the journey, from a greasy garage in Paterson to a glass house in Venice. And the core of it is Mallory finally overcoming that deep internalized guilt.
And embracing her own talent, her own ambition, which connects back to what Ali Hazelwood said was the spark for the book, that real-life research on stereotype threat. Mal had to dismantle her internal belief that she couldn't or shouldn't succeed before she could ever take on the external sexism of the chess world.
And if we bring this back to you, our listener, it really raises a critical question for self-reflection. We saw how much of Mallory's life was dictated by her guilt and her fear.
So when you think about it, how much of her initial choice to stay away from chess was really about practical finances? And how much was a self-imposed limit that came from trauma? She had to give herself permission to fail before she could ever truly succeed.
So the final thought for you to take away is this. What invisible stereotype threats, either from the outside world or, from your own past, are limiting your potential right now? What's pushing you to settle?
That's the final move in the game. The